your facilitator of the discussion today. Maybe let me just start by acknowledging people and just highlighting who is here with us. I saw some members from our national body, SAAPAM, national board rather of SAAPAM. I saw members from different provinces of SAAPAM. I acknowledge you all, colleagues, as well, of course, as our own leadership in the province of Mpumalanga, who organized this session. I also acknowledge and welcome our guest speakers, as well as the respondent, Mr. Wasim Karim, CEO of NSFAS, as well as Dr. Olithani, who's a senior lecturer and senior lecturer at UNISA, as well as also a member in good standing with SAAPAM. I also acknowledge colleagues, members from the academic fraternity, nationwide rather, as well as people from government. I do know we have different stakeholders who are also here. I also acknowledge our most important stakeholder who joined us, which is the students as well as the youth, because we are, after all, celebrating Youth Month. And I do know that our topic of today speaks to the hearts of many of the students as well as the youth around the country. So colleagues, maybe we have a very short and intimate program, but I just want to perhaps lay down a few respectful ground rules for our engagement. Of course, our public lecture is titled "A Dream Delayed is a Dream Denied: The Role of NSFAS in Ameliorating the Impoverished," and it speaks directly to, different socio-economic issues that face our country, but also to, one of the most important basic needs, which is education in our country. Okay. One of the rules that I would like to please ask respectfully from colleagues is to keep your mics off until you are noted to speak, because it does create some form of disturbance when you have your mic on while someone else is speaking. And then obviously when it's your turn to speak, we would ask you respectfully to just turn on your camera, and then you can turn it off after you've done. So that we can see that we're not, having discussions with chatbots and AI. Okay, colleagues. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say, but just to say, SAAPAM, we try and organize, discussions and engagements that are close to the hearts of everyone and that are imperative to societal issues. And I know at times that, discussions might get heated, but I do ask that we, engage each other respectfully. After all, we are here, to engage in a scholarly manner, but also to propose solutions where possible. So yeah, without any further delay, colleagues, allow me to just call to the stage our chairperson of SAAPAM and chairperson of BMF Young Professionals in Mpumalanga, my leader, Joseph Mudau, to just do the welcoming. Leader, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rulashe. I think allow me to greet and acknowledge everyone who has attended this public lecture. But more importantly, Program Director, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Karim, the CEO of NSFAS, who decided, ladies and gentlemen, to take time out of his busy schedule to come and talk to a community of scholars, to come and talk to intelligentsia about one pertinent issue that continue to remain a beacon of hope, particularly to a plethora of impoverished students in South Africa, and that is NSFAS. I think I must highlight, Program Director, that the conceptualization of this public lecture has sparked considerable interest in society. I think simply because when one begins to talk about NSFAS, you are touching a very thorny issue that continues to remain a custodian of the aspiration of society. It is in this regard, therefore, Program Director, that SAAPAM Mpumalanga chapter and BMF Young Professionals in Mpumalanga decided to invite Mr. Karim to come and engage the intelligentsia to what promises to be a stimulating and impactful public lecture. But I must also highlight, Program Director, that we are joined by colleagues from other universities. There are those who are joining us through Facebook. There are also those who are joining us through YouTube. I would also, on the very same note, Program Director, like to acknowledge the team that I work with. Firstly, from SAAPAM, Professor John Mulepo, who is the Executive Director. But I also worked very closely, ladies and gentlemen, with Dr. Rulashe, who's our Program Director today. And for that, thank you very much, colleagues. BMF in the province, thank you for coming out in your numbers. It is led by Thulani Mlangeni. We wish to declare, Program Director, that SAAPAM and BMF Young Professionals in Mpumalanga will continue to remain in the cutting edge of ideas. We will continue to spark debates about contemporary issues that affect society. Today's public lecture, ladies and gentlemen, takes place at a very good time on the South African calendar. This is a time, ladies and gentlemen, where we are commemorating the bravery, the efforts, and the contribution made by young people. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, even most of the participants on the program today are largely going to be young people. I would also like to welcome and acknowledge SAAPAM board members that are here, who are leading other provinces as well. Thank you so much, colleagues, for joining us. More importantly, Program Director, I wish to acknowledge and welcome the most important stakeholder, and that is our students. I've seen a number of students joining us here on this platform. I've seen others on Facebook who are from different universities. Thank you so much. Let us continue to spark considerable debate in society. On that note, Program Director, I wish to declare our meeting today officially open, and you are all welcome, and I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you, my chair. Indeed, those are warm, welcoming words. And I do think everyone is now feeling welcomed. As we say in Sithosa, Khululani ibhaki zenu niziphose pha. This is indeed an opportunity for all of us to reflect and to discuss any, challenges and opportunities that might come from the public lecture today. Maybe just to highlight, my chair, I see that the Eastern Cape is truly well represented. I see all three institutions, Forte, I see Nelson Mandela, I see Walter Sisulu. I will move to the other provinces as the program moves on, but I wanted to acknowledge my province. Yeah, colleagues, I told you it's a very short and intimate program. And without any further delay, I would like to call the next speaker, Ms. Nontetelelo Mapanga, a master's candidate and a SAAPAM member. as my chair has said, this is Youth Month, and we are promoting that the program, is filled with a youth voice. Ms. Nontetelelo, are you there?
Yes.
Over to you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nontetelelo Yulenda Mapanga, and I'll be sharing the purpose of the day. Our topic today is a dream delayed is a dream denied. The role of NSFAS in ameliorating the impoverished. It is to spark a critical conversation about the transformative power of education and the pivotal role that the National Student Financial Aid Scheme plays in empowering impoverished students in South Africa. By examining the complex interplay between poverty, education, and economic opportunity, we aim to shed light on ways in which delayed access to education can have far reaching consequences for individuals, communities, and the nation as a whole. As we observe Youth Day on June 16, we are reminded of the sacrifices and struggles of the youth who came before us, fighting for freedom, equality, and access to education. Today, we continue to face challenges in ensuring that all South African youth has access to quality education and economic opportunities. NSFAS has been instrumental in providing financial aid to students from disadvantaged backgrounds, like myself, for example, enabling them to pursue their dreams and contribute to the country's economic growth and development. Through this lecture, we hope to inspire a renewed commitment to supporting and empowering South Africans' youth, particularly those from impoverished backgrounds. By highlighting the importance of accessible education and the role of NSFAS in bridging the gap, we aim to spark a meaningful dialogue about ways in which we can work together to create a more equitable and prosperous society for all. Ultimately, we believe that by investing in education and empowering our youth, we can build a brighter future for South Africa and unlock the full potential of our nation. As we engage in this critical conversation, we invite participants to reflect on their own roles in shaping the future of South African youth. We hope that this lecture will not only raise awareness about the importance of education and NSFAS, but also inspire a collective action and partnership that can drive meaningful change. By working together, we can ensure that every young South African has access to education and opportunities they deserve, enabling them to realize their full potential and giving back to their own communities and the country. Let us unite in our pursuit of a South Africa where every young person's dream is within reach and where education is a catalyst for a brighter future, a more prosperous future for all. Together, we can turn the tide of history and forge a brighter nation where the potential of every young person is realized, where the spirit of June 16, the spirit of freedom, equality, and opportunities continues to inspire generations to come. I thank you. This was my opening remarks and the opening for the purpose of the day today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mapanga. An investment in education is an investment in South Africa, is an investment in the future of the country. Very, very profound words indeed. And yeah, we shall keep that tone throughout today's session. Colleagues, Northwest University, I see you. TUT, I see you. UMP, I see you. And I will keep shouting out all of the other universities that I keep seeing on all our platforms, be it YouTube, be it Facebook, and even here on Teams. The next speaker will introduce the guest speaker to us, and it's Ms. Jabulile Nyoni, a SAAPAM member in good standing. Over to you, Ms. Nyoni.
Thank you, Dr. Tando. Good morning to you all. My name is Jabuli Lenyoni. It is my pleasure of introducing our distinguished guest speaker today, and I thank you all for being part of this meeting. Mr. Wasim Karim is currently the acting CEO of NSFAS, where he plays a pivotal role in driving strategic improvements in support of South Africa's students. Prior to this, Mr. Karim served as both CFO and CEO of the NYDA. Under his leadership, the NYDA achieved 9 consecutive clean audit outcomes and grew its budget from 400 million to 1.5 billion, a remarkable testament to his leadership and financial acumen. A chartered accountant by profession, Mr. Karim also holds 2 master's degrees, reinforcing his strong academic foundation. He serves on the boards of both the SIFA and UNISA Enterprise, continuing his commitment to youth and enterprise development in South Africa. His accolades speak volumes. He was a category winner of SAICA's 35 Under 35 Awards in 2016, named one of the Mail and Guardian's 200 Young South Africans in 2018, and honored as one of SADC's most influential young leaders in 2019. Today, Mr. Karim will be sharing insights of the role of NSFAS in mitigating the impoverished, drawing from his deep experience at the intersection of public service, finance, and youth development. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Wasim Karim. I thank you.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Mr. Karim. Let's give him a digital hand of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director, and thank you to Jabulile for that very nice introduction. It's really a pleasure to speak to you this morning as SAAPAM, as well as the Black Management Forum, and to deliberate on this very important topic for South Africa and its young people. I think if we reflect on the higher education sector post-democracy, the sheer expansion of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme from what used to be TEFSA is a reflection of a post-government or post-democratic government's investment in the skills and capacities of young people in South Africa. From about an investment of about 33 million in 1999, right to NSFAS's budget, which takes up about 49 billion rand, the largest public entity in South Africa, is part of government's reaffirmation and commitment towards investing in higher education training for young people of this country. Of course, we know that in 2015, there was a very progressive movement that led the call for free decolonized education in the country. And in response to that, part of the deliberations was an amendment of the NSFAS model, moving away from what used to be primarily a loan scheme for South Africa into a bursary scheme. Today's discussion would not be complete without us reflecting on some of the challenges that have plagued the organization over the last number of years. Of fraud, corruption, maladministration, resulting in the organization having been placed under administration twice in the last decade. Some of these structural and systematic failures underline the fact that the organization's good that it does in society is heavily masked by its negative profile in the media and sometimes a negative perception among students. Therefore, in the appointment of a new board of directors by the Honorable Minister in Kabane, with the commitment to transparency, good governance, and mainly being supportive of the academic journey of students has been at the forefront of the board's agenda and its implementation plan, as it seeks to turn around the institution as a delivery mechanism for students in South Africa. These scandals that occur over time often overshadow the positive work of the organization and take away from the impact that it is really having in society. And Chairperson, at this point, I'd like to reflect on some of what that impact looks like. NSFAS and TEFSA have resulted in a collective 5.5 million graduates for the South African economy. Today, South Africa produces 4 times the amount of Black African graduates than what it did in 1994. And this is reflective in the society that we see as young Black professionals make their way in the private sector, in the public sector, as entrepreneurs, many of them working internationally as well. I think we recognize that South Africa produces some of the world's best graduates, and our universities are consistently ranked in the higher echelons of the global rankings for higher education institutions. This combination of having both strong university education as well as a state that's supportive of student journeys is reflective of what a post-democratic South Africa should look like. And the ability to produce the skills and capabilities that the economy needs to be able to function on a day-to-day basis. Graduate unemployment has always been the lowest form of unemployment, showcasing the fact that as we invest in the skills and capacities of our youth, this has a direct impact on their participation in the economy of South Africa. As we reflect on many of the positives that have come out of the fund, it's also very important for us to start looking at what the future looks like. On one level, NSFAS needs to improve its effectiveness and its efficiency. We still see multiple instances of poor systems that don't facilitate easy applications for young people. We see instances where disbursements are often made late, lack of integration between university and TVET systems as well as NSFAS systems lead to multiple delays and frustrations for young people. Poor levels of communication always result in a bit of frustration between students and NSFAS. And a large part of the board's view is that for NSFAS to be turned around, we need an entire rebuilding of trust between students, student organizations, institutions of higher learning, as well as NSFAS itself here. However, with that being said, Chairperson, turning NSFAS into an effective and efficient institution alone won't fix the challenges that we experience in the South African higher education sector. I say that with a number of key risks facing the organization and facing society as large as we move into a new era of development in South Africa. I'll highlight some of these risks in the next few points. At one level, NSFAS faces a major challenge in that it faces a compounding of events that is leading to its inability to meet the demand for higher education in South Africa. On the one level, our basic education system continues to improve, increasing the number of bachelor passes year on year and increasing the number of qualifying students for NSFAS. On the other hand, we're faced with an economy that's not growing and state resources which are declining, which pushes more households into the eligibility criteria for NSFAS, meaning more students are financially needy and they qualify both academically and financially for institution funding. This means that the institution is unable to meet all of the student expectations, and it means students who have done their part, done well at school, who produced a bachelor pass, who meet the financial criteria to do so, may be told that they, due to lack of funding in the country, they are unable to be placed at an institution of higher learning. This represents a fundamental breakage of the social contract in South Africa, which says that if one works hard, puts in the effort, the state will provide the necessary level of support to provide requisite social mobility in society. On another level, the higher education sector on its own faces its own institutional and governance challenges. While I mentioned the fact that graduate unemployment has fundamentally is fundamentally lower than other forms of unemployment. We have seen instances over the last number of years where graduate unemployment has been ticking up over time. We see that when we engage with graduate unemployment, that we see young people, often very painstakingly so, posting on social media and in person that their degrees have not necessarily resulted in the impact that they thought it would, that have not put them in a position where they can access the labor market and access the economy of South Africa here. And that fundamentally, again, represents the breakage of an agreement that if one works hard or produces a degree, the economy will be able to find some level of space for you. Of course, we respond to this by saying that young people should be more vested in entrepreneurship, that they should do multiple internships and learnerships. But the lack of growth in the South African economy is one. In addition to this, the quality of the certifications that are being received, particularly in an evolving and a changing economy, puts one in a position to suggest that our higher education sector is not evolving as fast as it should in producing the necessary skills and skills for the economy. At a third level, we still see that fundamentally students prefer university education to that of a technical and vocational training. Of the 1 million applications that NSFAS receives on an annual basis, 950,000 of those are for university, with only 50,000 students expressing TVET as their first choice of learning. This means that potentially 150,000 students which are moved from the university sector to TVET feel that they are receiving a second-class degree. In addition to that, our TVET sector leaves a lot to be desired, with more than 50% of young people who are coming out of TVET colleges not having the workplace, not having the space to do their workplace experience to complement the theoretical training that they have received at TVET college. And a fourth level, the rise of artificial intelligence after digitization and automation, again, presents a fundamental risk to education and society, and how we think about what the future must look like and the quality of the education that we produce to ensure people and young people have space in society to explore their skills and develop their capabilities. All of these risks, compounded with one another, present an existential threat to the higher education sector, but the society at large. And it is very important that collectively we confront these risks as we seek to carve out a pathway in a democratic South Africa where we leave no young person behind. With that level of thought, it's also important for us to reflect on the return on investment that we may be deriving through schemes such as the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. At one level, it still seemingly takes longer for NSFAS beneficiaries to move through the system, with students on average taking 5 years to complete a 3-year tertiary qualification. For every one NSFAS or every 2 NSFAS beneficiaries which enter the post-school education and training system, only 1 will end up graduating. And what is the loss of human capital and potential? The loss of investment to the state, or that of every person who receives a bachelor pass, only 1 in 2 will end up becoming a graduate. NSFAS and the Department of Higher Education and Training fully acknowledge, working together with the higher education sector, that our target can never be just the funding of students, and that we have a much more fundamental role to play in supporting students so that they are able to complete their tertiary qualifications and cross the graduation stage. Another component that we need to think about going into the future is the comparisons of relative costs in society here. When we speak about relative costs, we need to fundamentally think that a 3-year tertiary qualification, which on average may cost the state upwards of 300,000 in investment, compared to a skills development course, which may result in a job guarantee, possibly costing 1/10 of that. In a time of limited access to resources, whether the difficult decisions and trade-offs that we need to make in deciding how we allocate resources effectively in South Africa that produce more credible and better outcomes for young people and for society at large. We must balance this conversation against the beyond economic cost of attending institutions of higher learning. Institutions of higher learning have always been a representation of the fact that students from the most vulnerable and marginalized backgrounds can study at the same institutions from which the middle and upper class and elite come from, and that education is a great leveler of society in South Africa. Finally, Chair, in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with a thought that expresses a real hope for what the future could look like in South Africa. And this is transcended by one statistic that still stands out at NSFAS, which is that of all qualifying students for NSFAS, 70% come from households which were previously beneficiaries of social grants. And this is really reflective of the fact that cohesively basic education, higher education, and social policy is working in South Africa. It gives away the fact that often we reflect to people in social households as lazy or entitled as being completely untrue. If a young person from a marginalized and vulnerable background, receptive of state support for basic education, state social support, can make the step up, go to university, obtain a qualification, and achieve what comes with that in terms of social mobility, it tells us that we have hope for society in South Africa, and we can achieve the vision that's set out in our national development plan for the country. Chairperson, with that, I'll pause my inputs and hand back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karim. I think that those insights and reflections truly tell us of a situation where, you know, to a large extent, systematic governance and generally societal challenges come into play. And I do hope by the time we end this session, you know, some form of ideas and you know, inputs can be brought forward or contributed that will help us in trying to shape a better you know, support for our students and society at large. Without any further delay, colleagues, I would like to call to the front a seasoned academic, a colleague, and a member of SAAPAM in good standing. I'll keep repeating that. Dr. Olitani from UNISA. The floor is yours, my lead.
Oh, yes. Good morning. Is it morning? It is afternoon. Actually, I'm trying to adjust my camera in such a way that you can see me, but I do realize that it looks like I'm unable to do so. But I also, however, do realize that we are able to see the background image. I think I will deal with my camera just after I've provided my response, because I don't want to be interrupted from the most important part of the day that I have to fulfill. I must say this event is happening at a very important day. That is why I wanted my camera to be on, just to really prove that I'm a member of SAAPAM in good standing, because I'm wearing my SAAPAM regalia as proof that I'm a member of SAAPAM. And I hope all those members of SAAPAM, they actually, they are warm, because SAAPAM ensures that they keep us warm. But thank you so much, CEO, for such an insightful presentation. For me, actually coming from a background of being an interpretive phenomenologist, and also departing from Ubuntu as an African epistemology, as you were going about with your presentation, I just realized that the challenges, as you've also alluded to, we cannot be in a position of pointing fingers to say maybe NSFAS, they should have done 1, 2, 3, HEIs, and I mean higher education institutions, they could have fulfilled specific responsibility. I think departing from Ubuntu, we are gathered today here because we want to find solutions moving forward to see as to what is it that we can do individually, so to make sure that we work together, because umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, we're working together to see what is it that we can do to ensure, as you've really rightly alluded to, CEO, that we want our students to have equal access to higher education, because we know that if they have equal access to higher education, obviously we're going to then contribute to skills and capacity development of young people in this country. And I also liked the point that you alluded to indicate that really NSFAS is there because government is showing commitment that they want to develop these young ones so that they can be able to contribute to the economy of the country. And I just want to rightly say it in this platform that today I am Dr. Xolile Thani, who is employed as at UNISA as an academic. I've been a beneficiary of NSFAS. And if it wasn't for NSFAS, I don't think I could have been here being raised by a single mom who did all that she could, but the only thing that she could not afford, obviously, it was higher education. And I did hear, CEO, you did rightly mention that NSFAS has thus far produced about more than 5.5 million of graduates. And this is acknowledged and appreciated. But you'll agree with me that there also are challenges that we face as organizations or institutions. We cannot say it's only NSFAS that is grappling with challenges of effectiveness and efficiency, as you've rightly indicated. And you've also I don't want to say you've lightly highlighted, but actually that is what I have in mind at the current moment, that there are still challenges with applications, and there are still challenges in terms of the integration of systems that will be able to connect NSFAS and also higher education institutions. But however, I was just wondering, and these questions are not really directed to you, CEO. They are directed to all of us as we are connected to this platform, because some of us are academics, some of us are students, some of us maybe are working in the administration sections of these various higher education institutions. So what is it that we have done thus far? Oh, I see. Yes, I was just wondering, what is it that we have done thus far to ensure that these systems that we are saying they are posing a challenge, what is it that we've done to make sure that they are properly integrated? It wouldn't be a situation that a student is already registered, for example, at my institution, but then it happens that at NSFAS, they don't have the accurate record of that student, so that we can ensure that our students, their tuition fees are paid on time, and in terms of accommodation, to ensure that our students are allocated accommodation on time. Because I could imagine a situation where tuition fees can be paid, but then the student has not been allocated accommodation. How will we expect that student to actually focus on what they came for in the various institutions and be able to complete their qualifications on time? And you've rightly said it, CEO, that there are also students that you find that they don't complete their qualification on time. I'm asking myself, as I ask also everyone who is connected in this platform, have we really, and especially now I'm talking to the scholars who are also connected here, what is it that we've done to engage in research so that we can find out underlying issues that maybe makes the students not to complete their qualifications on time, especially the students who are benefiting from NSFAS. And also, I don't want really to take so much time. So program chair, if you see I don't stop, you are the only one who is going to stop me. If you don't stop me, then I will just go on. And of course, you did mention CEO in terms of other challenges in terms of higher education. I see that you did tap a bit in our space where you were asking us about, you were actually alluding to the fact of qualifications and the quality of certifications. So then from there, I was just wondering, really, I was asking myself, is this another research project that we have to work on? But of course, I know from for my institution, and I'm affiliated with the University of South Africa, the biggest Cordell in the African continent. Yes, I would say that in Africa, let me just say so. We do engage in programs where we look at the viability of our programs to make sure that we produce just the relevant skills that are needed by the South African economy. But I'm just wondering, since so many academics are also connected here, when do we really make time to engage maybe in platforms where we check the viability of our qualifications to ensure that all these graduates that complete their qualifications, they are able or they are better prepared for the labor market. Just as I conclude, Chair, with my observations from the presentation, I'm also just wondering, CEO, what is it that these higher education institutions, including my institution, because I'm also from an HEI, what is it that they've done, or what is it that has been done from your end to ensure that there is effective communication between NSFAS and the higher education institution? And I think this is a very important aspect that we need to delve deeper into that, because at the end of it all, if then the communication between your institution and HEIs, it's not improved, who suffers the most? It's our students who suffer the most. And how are we going to deal with that? And I'm also wondering, in terms of issues like you did mention, that you find that the administration part of it, which I believe you will find that in other instances, there are registration challenges in the various institutions. We cannot pinpoint a specific institution. What is it that has been done to ensure that when a student is registered, then the fees are paid on time? Basically, what I'm asking is, to what extent are we, higher education institutions, inclusive of you NSFAS, what is it that we are doing to ensure that there is equal access to higher education institutions, and also to ensure that we really live up to it? We actually live up to the social contract and ensure that we provide social justice for our students. At the same time, we don't compromise on the quality of education that we provide to our students. I will just pause here, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Doc. I think that was actually a very comprehensive response to our guest speaker, and I'm sure he has noted maybe some of the points that you brought up, especially those that are posed as questions, and generally the audience has also noted some of the questions that we can engage in. I think my takeaways from your input is definitely, and it links to what CEO said, or Mr. Karim, that there is a need, to be deliberate about the type of skills that we produce as higher education, that they can feed into, the market and the demands of the market. And then obviously you also posed a task and a challenge for us as academics, to venture into researching issues of funding, issues of, student support, and so on and so forth. Colleagues, now we have come to the part that I know that majority of the people have been waiting for, to engage, to reflect, to contribute, and of course to ask questions where needed. As Dr. Tani has said, you don't necessarily need to pose your question to Mr. Karim only. We have an ocean of intelligentsia here. And yeah, we will all try and engage and make this a very productive session. So I'll do this way. I'll open a first round of hands, maybe of 5 hands for contributions, reflections, and questions, and then I'll close it so that we can engage, and then we'll see if there are any further contributors. Okay. So, and chairperson has indicated you can also, if you don't want to speak, you can also pose your contribution and question in the chat space. Okay. So let me see those hands, colleagues. Station and response so clear that no one contribution was everything loud. I think my reflection as people are thinking, um, it's a reflection, it's not necessarily a question. Standing from the other side, especially as an academic and lecturer, sometimes the challenges that come with funding, be it NSFAS or any other form of funding, when you see your students struggling, not being able to attend class, not being able to have accommodation, and then they have to be at home and, catch on later on the semester onto things. It's really something that's disturbing, and it messes up, for a lack of a better word, the entire ecosystem of teaching and learning. And I do hope that some way, somehow, there's, as an earlier speaker said, there's more investment into education so that we can truly do away with some of these challenges. But yeah, that is just a by the way reflection from my side. Colleagues, are there absolutely no questions, no inputs? Am I still even audible? Okay, I see something in the chat space. From Gail Abrahams. Good afternoon. Are there specific ratio of students selected per province or university, or is the selection purely based on performance? I do hope you're noting that one, CEO. And then from Usenzo Kuhle, good morning, colleagues. My question is a bit long. I'd like to know, what do you do to get accepted by NSFAS? If your parents, guardian once worked for government, and they are no longer working there, and you need the NSFAS. Okay, so he's also asking about the selection criteria. I think in the absence of any other hands, CEO, maybe we can take that one. Okay, here's the last one. Let's sneak this one in. Okay, let's sneak this last two in. Good morning, colleagues. I would like from Unangamso, I would like to ask how I would like to ask as how might changes in NSFAS policies, particularly those affecting the transition from TVET colleges to university, impact access to higher education for students from disadvantaged background? Great question. From S. Chabalala, the last one, why is NSFAS not decentralizing? Each province must have a branch for better facilitation and communication. Let's close that round. The floor is yours, CEO, Mr. Karim. I'm not too sure. Have we lost to Mr. Karim, or are you muted? My chair, can you just check for me if we've lost Mr. Karim?
Let me quickly give him a call, my brother.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's just allow 2 minutes for our chair to come back to us.
Chair, sorry about that. He's joining. I think he was busy with the cabinet. He received the call from the cabinet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's just allow him to return, colleagues, and then he'll attend to the queries in the chat space. Colleagues, it seems we're having a little challenge because our CEO is in a discussion, I think, either with cabinet or parliament. So it might be difficult for him to come back. Perhaps a suggestion would be that we take all of those questions, we send them to him, and then we as SAAPAM will try and find a way of recommunicating with the audience, because we do have a database of people who attended. So we'll communicate back the answers from the CEO to everyone. So with that, can we rather move so that we don't hold people up? Can we move to the last part of our program? Sorry, colleagues, and just ask Dr. Poshia Mashava, BMF Mpumalanga Provincial Secretary, to do a vote of thanks for us.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, and actually thanking the SAAPAM and everyone that has been part of this insightful webinar. I believe most of us are in the academic space, and we've seen the role and the importance of the NSFAS. But firstly, and without wasting more time, I'd like to really thank Dr. Thando Ralush for his continuous support in terms of the SAAPAM and also in the Mpumalanga Charter. And not to forget Dr. Xolani, who has also agreed to be one of our respondents in today's seminar. And we really appreciate that. And this seminar couldn't be a success or insightful if we didn't have our CEO of the NSFAS, Mr. Karim. I think today we've gotten an understanding of what NSFAS stands for, and the contributions that also, besides the student basis, but I believe most of us are in universities, I'm including myself as in our chairperson. This information just doesn't end in such platforms, but it's information that we have to let our people, let the students and those who still wish to become in the university platforms, that opportunities are still there, and NSFAS still stands for our people. And the opportunity, the problem is that lack of information, which is our role as leaders, and from the side of BMF, that we need to let people be aware of such platforms as well. So, Mr. Karim, thank you so much with your busy schedule. I'm busy myself, but we really appreciate what you've done today and how this webinar became a success because of your contribution. And besides, we have other directors, like an executive director, who show so much support in activities and programs that are part of SAAPAM, which is Prof. John Molepe. There's also from the BMF and also from mostly the SAAPAM. We thank you so much for your contribution. This webinar, again, was not going to be a success without students and other organizations who form part in listening and also sharing your ideas and asking questions. Even if you have questions after, I believe our chairperson, Mr. Joseph Mudau, would inquire for you, and you get more information concerning NSFAS. And I believe programs such as NSFAS, they have their website. Other things, you can still go get information there. But moreover, from the BMF, we continue to appreciate the collaboration with SAAPAM, and we wish for more collaborations, because with BMF, we want to have transformed leaders and leaders that serve in boards, leaders that have information on what's happening in the ground, in the universities, and in also other managerial spaces. And Mr. Karim, moreover, thank you so much. And thank you for everyone for being part of the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you to you too, Dr. Mashava, for always supporting us and being part of our discussions. Colleagues, again, apologies, for having to cut our session short. but it was unforeseen circumstances. And we do promise all of those queries that are listed within the chat space. We will bring them to the attention of Mr. Karim, and we will find a way of communicating back to you guys. So yeah, with that said, thank you. Enjoy the long weekend. Rest, braai if you want to braai, but also remember how special this month is and how special and historical the holiday that we will be celebrating is, or commemorating is. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.